Reimagining Success, Episode 26. You're listening to Reimagining Success, the podcast where we help you reimagine your future, designing a life and career beyond the 9 to 5 that allows you the freedom, flexibility and fulfillment that you've been dreaming of. I'm your host, Anna Lundberg. Now, let's get started on those dreams. Hello there and welcome back to Reimagining Success. Now, we have been exploring how to set up your business to give you the freedom, flexibility and fulfillment that you're after. And we'll be looking at all things business models, creating systems, outsourcing, getting your financials in the right place, and last week, mindset. This week, I want to take a slightly different approach to look at how you can recognize, prevent and manage burnout as you run your business. So as I shared at the start of the series a few weeks ago, I truly believe that running your own business is the very best way in which you can get that freedom, flexibility and fulfillment, but also that it doesn't come automatically. There is a lot of work that needs to be done to make sure your business gives you what you want. And over all this, I think, hangs the sword of Damocles that is the risk of working too hard, pushing yourself too far and ending up experiencing burnout. Because the last thing you want to do is to end up working harder than you ever did in your corporate job, which you probably left at least partly for the very reason that you wanted to avoid burnout. If you're stressed and unwell, you won't be enjoying the work you're doing, but you also won't be enjoying the time that you take off from work, if you ever do take any time off. And when you are your business, taking care of yourself is taking care of your business. So how can you recognize and above all avoid burnout as an entrepreneur then? Well, the first thing to do is to set yourself up for success to begin with. And that goes back to all the things that we were just talking about these past few weeks. Again, deciding on the right business model, creating those systems, setting up tools, outsourcing routine tasks to free up your time to work on the really important things, getting your financials right, working on your mindset and so on. And on top of these strategies, I wanted to talk through 5 things that I'd encourage you to consider that will help you to avoid burnout. And the first one is to get clear on your priorities. Now, my first piece of advice, and you'll know this if you've been following me, listening to me for a while, is always going to be define what success means to you. So this means getting clear on the big picture vision of what you want from your business and your life. It means identifying the practical criteria for what you want your lifestyle to look like. And it means getting super clear on your specific priorities, really on that day-to-day basis. So a few concrete strategies here. First of all, you may have heard of Pareto's 80-20 principle, and this is all about the 20%, actually almost always in any case, whether it's agriculture or business or whatever, generating 80% of your results. So you want to identify those 20% of your work, whether it's the 20% of clients, projects and so on, that really is generating 80% of your results. Then you want to review where you're actually spending your time each day, each week. And you want to see if your calendar and the projects you're working on really aligns with those priorities that you've identified. Examine your to-do list. Really look at what is actually a must do, because often we just have a laundry list of things that we kind of think we should do. It's not that important. So identify what really is a non-negotiable must-do priority, and then take those tasks and translate them into calendar appointments, because what is on the calendar gets done. Next, follow Brian Tracy's advice. He has a book called Eat That Frog, which means you're going to be tackling your most challenging, but probably also your most impactful task the first thing you do in the morning. Because all the little things, the admin-y bits, the emails and so on will get done anyway. But what you want to make sure is that you're making that massive leap forwards with your big priority first thing. And if you do that every day, whether it's working on a book or your big project or launching a new course or whatever, that will really have you moving forwards in your business without having to work late into the night because you haven't started it. And finally, then set boundaries and learn to say no, because often things will crop up that just aren't a priority for you and your business or for your family. Of course, if it's personally important, that's also something to consider. But you really need to have those boundaries, make sure you really implement them and live up to them and learn to say no. If you don't do all these things, you're easily going to get very overwhelmed with the endless lists of things that you could or even should do with no end in sight. So number 1 has to be get clear on your priorities. Number 2 is run your own race. Now, once you're clear on what success means to you and you know what you're working on and why, you'll be able to focus on those goals and priorities that you've identified. And it is important that you do focus on those things, focus on your own vision, your own plans, because it's so easy to get distracted by what other people are doing. You're bombarded on a daily basis with images and messages on social media, and the pressure really is on. You have those glamorous Instagrammers who are doing gravity-defying yoga poses on the beach, boss babes on Facebook who are making 7 figures every month, not to mention all of your friends who are getting a promotion, getting engaged, getting married, having children, staying in some incredible luxury resort, seemingly forever, and so on. If you add all these things up together, they're going to create an impossible amalgamation of every possible goal and achievement, and it's just not going to be feasible for you to live up to even a fraction of that. So stop comparing yourself to what other people are doing. That's not relevant, nor is where you think you should be. You are where you are, you have your vision, you have your goals, and you have your plan. So now keep your head down, stick to the plan, of course tweak and evolve as you go if needed, but do what you know you have to do and try to shut out that outside noise once you've decided on what it is you need to do. Number 3 is learn to switch off. Now, I'm a big fan of work-life integration. So not that standard kind of corporate phrase of balance, but integration. I love that you're showing up with your whole self, both to work and your personal life. I love designing a business, and that's what we're talking about here, that fits around your life, your personal priorities, your passions, and so on. However, this does not mean that you should be working all the time, because it's easy to tell yourself, and I certainly did this in the early days of my business and after I left my corporate job in 2013, oh, I work all the time, but I don't mind. I just love what I do so much. Yes, it is amazing that you're working on creating something you're passionate about. And again, that is what this is all about. But that doesn't mean it's the only thing that matters. It is no good for anyone, for you, for your business, or for your friends and family, your loved ones, if you blur those boundaries so much that you're always on. So you really need to learn to switch off. Switching off means, for example, literally and physically switch off your computer, turn off the notifications on your phone, close the door to your home office when you're not supposed to be working. Take breaks throughout the day, at least every 1.5 hours. Make sure you have a proper lunch away from your computer, go outside to get some fresh air and so on. So make sure you're not just working continuously just because you happen to be working from home by yourself. And create a routine to help you wind down in the evening. A bath, a book, a cup of chamomile tea. Make sure you're aiming for the amount of sleep that you know you need. We're all different, but probably at least a solid 7+ hours of sleep. Now take a look at your day, your week, your month, your year even, and then work out how you can set some boundaries again and carve out me time, family time, rest time, that kind of self-care time that's become such a popular phrase these days. And by the way, all the research now says that you need to work less, not more, to be more productive. So even if you're thinking purely profit and a mercenary business focus, it is important to learn to switch off. And again, there's that kind of quote that I really like, that when you are your business, working on yourself is working on your business. Because if you're unwell, again, you're not going to enjoy it, but your business is also not going to do very well if you're not able to work on it because you're too stressed and not being productive. Now, the next one is to notice the red flags. The risk is that you just keep pushing through thinking, I can do this. And you probably can until you can't. Instead, you need to be really vigilant and respond to early signs rather than wait until it's too late. So I found an article when I was researching this piece called The 12-Stage Model of Burnout, or it's developed by the psychologist Freudenberger and North, I think from 10-15 years ago. Very interesting. And it starts with the milder signs that I think actually a lot of us may identify with, but find to be sort of normal. We kind of normalize it somehow, and we don't associate it with burnout. So have a listen to these. The compulsion to prove yourself, relying on external validation and taking on bigger and bigger responsibilities. Working harder, not being able to switch off, sleeping less, eating badly, neglecting your friends, family and hobbies and focusing only on your work, denying that any problems exist, and feeling cynical, getting frustrated with people you're working with. So do any of those things sound familiar? Because it's really important to pick up on these signs before you get to the more serious stages. The more serious stages of that model of burnout include withdrawing from social life, relying on substances, for example, drink or drugs to deal with stress. Some really odd behavioural changes that people might notice, that you might notice, feeling empty inside, depression, and then ultimately really medical burnout. So if you're feeling exhausted, lacking motivation, struggling to focus, then the time to act is now. Now, you may tell yourself you don't have time to take a break, you've got so much and it's fine, I can push through this. But if you don't slow down now, sooner or later you will be forced to stop altogether. And I always think that if you're building a business based on that hustle and stress, you're going to be very successful in creating a business that relies on hustle and stress. So it may seem counterproductive. We may think we have to work really, really hard in the beginning, but if you do that too much, if you take it to the extreme, it means you're building the foundations of a business that is going to be reliant on you working too hard. So you really need to build in these breaks, all the things we talked about before, the outsourcing, the systems and so on from the start, to make sure your business foundations are sustainable, rather than creating this horrible monster of a business that's going to require you to push yourself until you're ill, really, to make it work. And then the final one is get support. Now, I'm always talking about the importance of asking for help, surrounding yourself with a supportive community to get you through those ups and downs in your business. And this is even more important in the specific context of avoiding burnout. Now, there are a few different types of support that you need, in my opinion. The first is a tribe, a group of peers who are going to encourage you, cheer you on, and empathize with your struggles. You know, if you post in a Facebook group, oh, has anyone felt like this before? You get all these people crowding in saying, oh my gosh, yes, that's exactly how I felt. Don't worry, it gets better, and so on. And this really helps you avoid feelings of loneliness and isolation. So I have my Facebook group, of course. You can search One Step Outside to join my Facebook group, or go to onestepoutside.com/community. I'd love to have you there. And again, that's really a community where we're encouraging each other, sharing those struggles, but also celebrating our wins, which is equally important. Secondly, a coach or a mentor who's going to guide you specifically on the business side. Because a lot of this early stress that comes from, the early stages of burnout can come from the fact that you're just not quite sure where you need to be focusing on, and you don't know what the right priorities are and so on. So it's easy to get overwhelmed. You're working on anything and everything without seeing results. And that's where it can then lead to more severe burnout later on. So make sure you're getting the expertise that you need as well on the business side to make sure that you're prioritizing the right things, you're focusing and being as productive and effective as you can. And then finally, friends and family who aren't involved in your business and can help distract you from the problems of stress you may be experiencing. Because yes, it's great to have those other entrepreneurs who are cheering you on, and it's fantastic to have a business coach. Sometimes you just need someone completely different to bring you back to earth and, talk to you about something completely irrelevant. Play with your children, your nieces and nephews, your cousins, go to the cinema, go to the theatre, see your friends for a drink, whatever it is. But just taking time off, because again, switching off is as important as, making sure you're using your actual work time effectively. Now, of course, if you are already experiencing signs of burnout, and especially those later signs that I mentioned, the real support may well be from a medical professional. So do make sure, if you're really feeling this is something that I can't handle by myself, even a coach, a mentor, friends are not necessarily the right people to help you. Reach out to someone trusted, go to your doctor, whoever you feel comfortable speaking to, but do make sure you get that help that you need. So again, just to recap, first of all, I'd encourage you, if you haven't done that, listen to the past few weeks of episodes, because we're talking about setting up all the fundamentals to make your business run smoothly and to give you that freedom and flexibility. And that is fundamentally going to help you here as well in avoiding burnout. So deciding on the right business model, creating those systems and tools, outsourcing routine tasks, getting your financials right, working on your mindset, and so on. So those are the last few weeks of episodes. Now, today I talked through 5 different strategies, 5 things to consider. First of all, get clear on your priorities. And I gave you a few ideas there: Pareto's 80-20 principle, turning your to-do list into calendar appointments, and eating that frog first thing in the morning. The second thing was to run your own race. Don't compare yourself to everyone else, certainly not in business, and also the same thing goes for your personal life. Third is to learn to switch off. Again, work-life integration is fantastic. Doesn't mean you should be working all the time. So make sure you build in that time off, the breaks throughout the day, turning off your computer, your notifications, and creating that lovely routine so you can get the sleep in the evenings as well. Noticing the red flags. Again, consider that model of burnout from the beginning, where the sort of milder signs are pretty common, things that we might think are normal. Certainly in the corporate world, if everyone else is doing the same thing, then it might seem like that's just the way work is. Identifying those so-called milder signs early on, pick up on those and do something about it before you get to the more serious signs and really get to what is really defined medically as burnout. And then finally, get support. Again, thinking of those 3 different groups, the tribe of peers and colleagues who will support you, a coach or mentor to help you focus on the right things on the business side, and finally, friends and family who are not involved in business and can help you distract you and have fun with you. So I hope that was helpful. It's such an important topic to consider. Again, you might want to go back and listen, make really practical notes in terms of what you want to change in your routine. Have a look at your calendar, have a look at your whole year, plan out those holidays you want to take, the breaks you want to take first, and then build your business plans around that. Same thing for your day, your week. You want to spend time with your children or go to the football match on Saturday or whatever it is. Block those things into your calendar. And by the way, you should have one calendar for work and personal, whether you're in a job or running your own business, and then make sure that the business works around those things. These things like self-care, exercise, sleep, food, and so on are just as important, if not more important, both for your business, but also for your personal life and your family. So I hope that was helpful. A good reminder, if you are pushing yourself too much, take a step back, have a look at how you're running a business, how you're living your life really, and take action now rather than wait until it's too late. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Reimagining Success with Anna Lundberg. If you're looking for support and encouragement as you begin to reimagine success in your life, then come on over and join us in the One Step Outside Facebook group. You'll find like-minded people who will cheer you on, as well as free training sessions and lots more. To join, visit onestepoutside.com/community or just search for One Step Outside on Facebook. I'll see you over there.